You are listening to Das Bundesliga Show here on the Lock Betting Podcast. You can follow Lock Betting on Twitter at LockBettingCom. That's at LockBettingCom. We have just posted the P&L for the month of April, and that was the 119th month in a row of transparent and tracked profit. So we are now just under 3 weeks away from reaching that 120 mark, which would represent being undefeated in sports betting every single month for an entire decade. So if you want to upgrade to the service, head over to lockbetting.com and upgrade to the appropriate package as we look to see it home for 120 months, a decade undefeated at lockbetting.com. So moving on with this edition of Das Bundesliga Show, we do have a nail-biting title race between Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund. But this opening game may be just as important because Champions League football is on the line. And it looks like one of these two teams will miss out if RB Leipzig continue to win. Union Berlin are hosting Freiburg, and Union Berlin are the 23-20 favourites. It's 11-5 on the draw, and it's 13-5 on Freiburg. These two teams are only separated by goal difference. Both of them have occupied a top four position for most of the season, but now one of them is in danger of dropping out. The goal difference is 4 goals. Union Berlin are plus 12 and Freiburg are at plus 8, making this a very difficult game to call. Now, Freiburg have done most of their damage at home, but so have Union Berlin. Union Berlin are actually undefeated at home this season. Therefore, they are my lean here to win this game. They can make home advantage count against the Freiburg team, who head into this one off the back of 2 consecutive losses. They also lost a 6-pointer last week for Champions League football against RB Leipzig. So they've shown the capability of beating teams below them in the table, but they don't necessarily fare well in these types of clashes. They come up here against an unbeaten at home Union Berlin team who've conceded just 9 goals in 15 home games this season. Therefore, it is difficult to make a case here for Freiburg. And I think Union Berlin could pick up the win that sees them into the Champions League next season. Up next, we've got a game here between Bayern Munich and Schalke, where Bayern are the 1-9 favourites. It's 9-1 on the draw, and it's 18-1 here on Schalke. I think this will be a game that Bayern Munich win and win convincingly. Bayern Munich do enjoy playing against Schalke, and I don't think anything's going to change here in this fixture. My selection here will be for Bayern Munich to win both halves of this game. I don't think that this Schalke team can hang with Bayern Munich for any of the 45-minute periods. Thomas Tuchel's side have scored 20 goals in the last 5 clashes against Schalke, and therefore that adds weight to the fact that I don't think that Schalke can hang for Bayern Munich for any of the 45-minute periods. I think Bayern Munich will win both of these halves, and as a result, they will put the pressure on to Borussia Dortmund, who play in the 5:30 kickoff. Schalke's resurgence is no joke, though, but it's come primarily due to their increase in attacking output. So the only worrying thing here about taking a team to win both halves is the fact that they have netted 10 times in their last 4 matches. But Tuchel's Bayern have looked more defensively solid as of late. They have conceded just 1 goal across their last 2 games, and last week's goal was more of a consolation goal late on where they simply just switched off. I see Bayern Munich doing a majority of the attacking here, and I'll take them to win both halves of this game. Bayern Munich to win both halves is available at even money, plus 100 here for this one. Up next, we jump across to that late kickoff where we look at the game between Borussia Dortmund and Borussia Mönchengladbach, and this will be a must-win game if Bayern Munich do get the job done against Schalke. This will be a big pressure cooker game here for Borussia Dortmund. They are the 1-4 minus 400 favourites to win it. It's 13-2 on the draw, and it's 11-1 here on Borussia Mönchengladbach. Borussia Dortmund aren't winning the league because of what they've done at home. It's because of what they've done away from home. Away from home, they've been disappointing, and that's where they've slipped up. At home, they have a 100% record since the World Cup. They are the top scorers in 2023 across Europe's top 5 leagues, and they meet the Bundesliga's lowest scorers of the calendar year. On top of that, Gladbach, with just 9 away points all season, visit a Dortmund side who have the league's best home record. They've won their last 10 straight games and they've scored 41 goals along the way. 7 of Dortmund's 13 home wins have come by 3 or more goals. So not only have they been winning, but they've been annihilating teams on their home patch. I don't see any reason to think anything different here. We actually have strong data for taking minus 2.5. We're going to be more conservative and simply take minus 1.5. Borussia Dortmund to cover a minus 1.5 Asian handicap line is available at 4-6 minus 150. And that's going to be your selection here for this one, as I believe that both Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund win today. And that will mean the table will stay as it is at the top, with Bayern Munich leading by 1 point at the end of this match day. We now jump across to Sunday and we look at the game here between Stuttgart and Bayer Leverkusen, where Stuttgart are the 7-5 favourites. It's 5-2 on a draw, and it's 9-5 here on Leverkusen. You may think it's weird to see Stuttgart as a favourite, considering they're a team who are trying to fight off relegation, and Bayer Leverkusen are now in the top 6 after a good run. But Bayer Leverkusen will be primarily focusing on their matchup against AS Roma, because that's their route back into the Champions League, not anything via their league position. So you can see why their focus will be shifting. And for Stuttgart, this is a must-win game. So ordinarily, Bayer Leverkusen will be expected to win this game, but Stuttgart are the team in greater need. They desperately need the points against the battle against the drop, and Bayer will be prioritising that second leg against Roma. So this is a spot to take Stuttgart to claim a vital 3 points. To be safe, we will take them here in the draw no bet market, so Stuttgart as a pick, and that selection is available for you here at the best price of 5-6 minus 120 here for this one. The final game that we look at here is the final game on Sunday. It's RB Leipzig at home to Werder Bremen, where RB Leipzig are the 1-4 favourites to win it. It's 11-2 on the draw, and it's 11-1 here on Werder Bremen. RB Leipzig need to probably pick up 6 points to make sure that they qualify for the Champions League next season. They'll benefit from the fact that Union Berlin are still playing Freiburg in these final 3 games. So somebody is going to take points off the other, which means that Leipzig are in a position where they could probably lose next weekend against Bayern Munich as long as they win the other 2 home games. And that's exactly what I expect them to do. This could be a game, though, where Werder Bremen make a contribution. So my pick for this game here is going to be RB Leipzig to win with over 2.5 goals tacked on. Both teams have scored in each of Bremen's last 5 away games, and they've only failed to score in 1 of their 8 trips since the resumption, since the World Cup. Both teams have scored in the reverse fixture, and that was a 2-1 win for RB Leipzig. And Bremen were also able to grab a goal in a defeat against Bayern last time out. They grabbed that consolation goal, and therefore I think we have strong data for both teams scoring here, or at least Bremen making a contribution. Of course, Leipzig, they have more to play for here, and they could just win out and win comfortably, and they could just get the 3 goals by themselves. But I think it's a good add-on. We're going to add on the over here. We're going to take RB Leipzig to pick up another win. We're going to tack on over 2.5 goals, and that gives us the price of 4-6 minus 150 instead of taking 1-4 minus 400 here for this one. Closing out with your lock on the show, we close out with another selection that's available at 4-6 minus 150. And it's one of the games we covered earlier. It's Borussia Dortmund at home, and we look for them to cover the minus 1.5 Asian handicap line here against Borussia Dortmund at home. This is the 5:30 kickoff today, and I think Borussia Dortmund will be in a must-win situation by the time it comes around. This is a team who've won their last 10 home games and have scored 41 goals in those games. Half of Gladbach's away defeats have come by 3 goals or more, and we only need one of the best home teams in Europe to win by 2 goals or more in order to cash this selection. So once again, your lock here for this show is Borussia Dortmund minus 1.5 on the Asian handicap line at the price of 4 to 6 minus 150. That's it for me. Good luck with all of your bets as always, and thanks for listening.